This morning I was briefed of a situation at Port of Belize Ltd, where the employees had decided that they would not be working today, and the stevedores were in solidarity with them. And so that led to a peaceful protest. I would want to think that by now you all would be aware that today was a date that the company was saying that they were going to issue termination letters to, I think, some 39 or 37 employees. And I guess that was what led to the decision by the employees not to work today. And so, as would normally be the case, that in situations like this, the police would get involved. But the involvement of the police must not be to take either side. The police duty is one of ensuring that law and order is maintained. And so police were deployed, and the instructions from me was that the people must be allowed to dissent so long as they're doing so peacefully. And later on, as the day progresses, I was briefed that the company was about to issue the termination letters. And so I had been very much busy today dealing with different situations. So I directed the commander of Eastern Division to speak to the management of Port and to ask them if they can delay the issuing of those letters, for the simple fact that the people were agitated, and to have served or to issue the letter at that particular moment would have caused more agitation, which could have eventually evolved into a riot. I was later on briefed by Mr. Dawson that the management decided that they were not going to go along with our suggestion, that they were going to still issue the termination letters. Now, I would have wanted to believe that as the police on the ground, seeing what was happening and the volatile nature of the situation, that the management would have at least sided with us to say, you know what, we could just hold back a bit and wait until cooler heads prevail before we proceed with the issuance of the termination letters. Well, subsequent to that, later on, I was again briefed that management decided that they were going to send the termination by way of text messages to those who were being terminated. And that was done. Eventually, I was briefed that Port have ceased operation for the day, and everybody were sent home. But stevedores and employees were still in the area dissenting. And so the Port of Belize wanted the police to move the people off the compound. And so I said to the commander of Eastern Division, my position is that once these people are on the compound and they are peaceful, then let us allow them to express themselves peacefully. They will not stay there all day. They have to leave to go home. After I gave that directive to the commander, I also communicated with Mr. Hyde, who is the president of the CWU, and I told him that we were going to allow them to remain on the grounds, providing that they remain peaceful. He gave his assurance that they were not about trouble, that they were going to be peaceful. A few minutes later, I got a call that shots were being fired at the Port of Belize Ltd, and that GSU were deployed to the area. Now, for me, that was a total wrong move. When we have people who are agitated, especially people who know that they are in the process of losing their livelihood, we would expect that the police would do their utmost best to ensure that whatever we do will not be such that will cause more agitation. So in a situation as volatile as what was happening at Port, I would have never made a decision to deploy a paramilitary unit in the area, because their mere presence would have made those agitated people believe that, you know what, here is the state enforcing their might on us, and it would cause them to become more agitated. When I received that call, I called the OC in Eastern Division and I directed that the GSU be removed immediately. Mr. Dawson assured me that he was going on the grounds to ensure that the GSU were removed. But by that time, the damage was already done, because persons were already shot with rubber bullets and people had become more agitated. Now I want the public to understand that as a police department, we must always strive to be professional. We must always strive to do things in a peaceful manner. Brute force and ignorance does not make situation better for us. I believe that if the ordinary uniformed police officers had been left in the area with those who were protesting, the crowd would not have become more agitated. But Mr. Dawson had given his explanation as to what transpired. I am looking at it, and I have also asked the union to have those persons who were shot come in to make their complaint, and we are going to address it swiftly. Certain elements from the GSU have been transferred, because we need to send a strong signal that we are not going to have our officers go out and use force that is unnecessary against people who are dissenting peacefully. And so that is all I need to say in respect of this matter.
Is it regrettable that it went this far from Port?
Of course it is regrettable. I really and truly wish it would not. I tried as best as I could have to communicate with the commander on the ground to have made sure that this did not reach the stage it did. So I'm really and truly upset and I'm disappointed, because at the end of the day, the union can also see it as me setting them up, because I have said to them what the position was. And just minutes after I told them, I spoke to them, here comes a total different method than what I had told them would have been our rules of engagement. It cannot work.
Williams, was it a matter of a lack of communication, miscommunication, or just someone going over your head, going straight against what you had ordered?
Well, I'm still trying to find that out. I have met with the senior command in Eastern Division, and I hope that it is not a situation where someone decided to go above me and do as they so please. They have given some explanation. I'm not too happy with it. And at the end of the day, something needs to be done, and it must be done quickly, because we as a department must speak with one voice. When an instruction is given, so long as that instruction is a lawful one, it is expected that those below must follow the instruction.
So the insinuation made was that some of these officers could have contracts with companies like PBL and act on their behalf. What would you say to that?
I don't know. I don't know we have officers who works for PBL even on an off-duty basis, like we will see officers working at different stores. I don't know of that. I know that, yes, indeed, every afternoon, because of the the lunch hour protests, we would deploy officers to the port to ensure that the period of protest goes through peacefully. But there is no information to suggest that these officers are or these officers work on a contractual basis part-time for PBL. No.
So in respect to the reports of shots being fired at PBL, any bullet holes in the building, bullets, expended shells?
Those are rubber bullets, so it will not leave any bullet holes. No.